Good afternoon, one and all. Yeah, I have been going over and over. I've been talking to AI, getting ideas. I'm not sure because this is key, and it's not one of those things you can easily rewrite, restructure, refactor at a later time. Here's the question. Here's the question of the day. Game plans. Okay, so every user gets a game plan. I mean, you get a team, you get a game plan, and you can do whatever you want with it. As many situations as you want. You can put in one for every possible situation you could dream up. Additionally, I will have a default game plan, one that, in the most general of senses, covers every situation in the game. Like, the most basic. I won't go this basic, but it would be have a first down, second down, third down, and fourth down play for every scenario. Or, that just covers everything. It just says if it's more than 99 yards to go, first, second, third, fourth, these are the plays that we would probably call. Just gets a play called. And then it would be the dumbest of all game plans. And then, of course, then you go a little bit further. You go, okay, well, if it's on fourth down, you always punt, right? I mean, that would be the dumbest of game plans. Then you start adding situations. Okay, well, we don't punt on all fourth downs. If we're within, 30 yards, we kick a field goal. If it's within, if it's within 30 yards, we kick a field goal. Everything else is a punt. Now, that would be realistically a basic scenario because you don't necessarily want to start getting too minutiae. So you could go more. You could have situations where you go for it on fourth down, blah, blah, blah. And maybe that's another thing. You might go in and say, okay, if behind and there's less than 2 minutes left on fourth down, if you're behind by 3 or less, kick a field goal. If not, you have to go for it. Because, I mean, you got to make the team do what it takes to try to win, right? You can't so you give it the basic stuff that gives it at least something. But otherwise, it's going to play pretty dumb. Probably not the best situation for every case, but it covers all scenarios. And then, if you're behind, maybe it passes more frequently than runs. I don't know, but anyway, it covers all situations. It's basic. That's easy. I create a default game plan. I got that. That's the plan. So that means every time a scenario is not covered, a situation is not covered by the situation in the game, it's going to fall back to the default and you're going to get whatever that does because it needs to have some situation that's covered. So if you go and create your own game plan, now the one option is you're going to be playing underneath the default game plan if you don't create and edit your own game plan, right? Same goes for the AI teams. They're all going to be using the default game plan unless something changes how that plays. So that means I've got to do a couple of things. I've got to figure out, does every team get its own game plan, or do we just overlay or replace situations? Ideally, I'm thinking the coach's game plan doesn't really have an effect. Okay, so the coach's game plan isn't a full game plan. It's a game plan that overloads scenarios. Like it might have a bunch of places where, like, if he's run tendency, he's going to run in a lot of places. So he might do something that kind of overlaps or creates a bunch of situations where he runs. Doesn't always run, but he might run. Maybe it's a generic covers everything game plan that does its own slight variation, right? It's mostly runs and stuff like that. Might even be hopefully smarter, like it might consider more options for like overtimes and stuff like that, just because it has to override the basics. Then there is the problem of trying to figure out how to store these, right? So am I going to give every team in every league its own custom game plan? Now AI AI made this suggestion. Because I was curious what it would say. It suggested a third option where every team gets their own game plan, their own, what do you call it? I forgot what it called it. It called it their theory. No, the teams. What was it? I just got done debating this with the AI. And I was asking it about scaling because I was a little worried about how many. Oh. Yeah. Adaptive response levels. Well, I thought I had a discussion in here about it. It says give each team identity or philosophy for that team. Like maybe like basically it almost like the GM. Every team might have an owner philosophy. So a game plan would be made up of multiple types of. So I could have 32 default game plans and every team gets their own default game plan. Now that would be interesting, but that also means a lot more work for me, right? If I create a generic cover everything game plan, a default, but then I have to create 32 random philosophies, different philosophies where every team does their own little thing. And then I have the coaches bit, which comes in and tweaks that, right? I mean, ultimately, the ideal would be that you have, one game plan. In the end, there's like your base game plan. The system puts them together, overlays them on top of each other, like creates a combined game plan. Which basically would put everything into all your situations, all their situations, and if there's a match, then it takes priority, right? So if there's two situations that are the same, but only during the game. So you have your own game plan, and the system has its default, and the coach has his, and the team has theirs. I'm really debating the whole team has theirs, because for one, I don't know how will I edit the team defaults. I yeah, I don't know how I would even edit team defaults. I would have to just basically create a bunch of default game plans and assign them to the base teams, and then whenever those team names get assigned to somebody, they get that thing. Or I just randomly assign them. I just can create 32 default. Maybe that's what I do. I create 32 default game plans. For the potential of every team getting one. And whenever a league is created, yeah, that might work. That does give me a lot. So I make one dumb one that all 32 teams will get, but there's 32 copies of it. And every team gets that. That's their philosophy. Now, I could go through and I'd have to be able to load them. And but basically, I have a creator account, which is what I'm going to use to be able to edit anything. So I could create like any default game plan, any sys user team, anything I want. I can tweak it because I am the man. I can check to see what these teams are doing, what they look like. I can look at everything. So that's the objective. So I'm planning to assign a creator. It's like admin. it may even just be admin. I'm trying to decide if I want to have admin, because if I get to the point where I can hire somebody, I don't know if I want, everybody to have. It's like admin and super admin. Or admin and creator. Because I think it should be fully traceable who's doing what to people's teams, right? How many people would I ever have hired? 2 or 3? And will they all be coders? If they're not coders, they won't get admin rights anyway. So maybe that's what I do. I create an admin account, and if the users I have in there are admin accounts, they can have access to everybody, every team, everything. They can look at it. Now, this way they can adjust, tweak, whatever they need to. Mostly it's about managing the user stuff and the system stuff. So maybe that's what I'm thinking. Maybe that's the way to go. It's really a challenge to figure out the best way to approach this. That's why I'm kind of just been sitting here staring at my screen for a while. I had to keep stopping and let myself be distracted by some other task every now and then, because I got to come up with a solution for this. I got to do it quick so I can move on, start working on things, which means I have to create the creator account or assign creator privileges or admin privileges to my base account. This, and then I have to make every team accessible, so I can edit their default, their game plan. So I have to go in, edit, and manage. Problem is, I'd have to keep the default game plan separate, and then create instances of those game plans for every team, because obviously we can't have people changing the default game plans. They can change the default game plans of their team, but it's now their game plan. So I think everybody's just going to get a copy. And the thing is, it always has to keep, I have to always have Okay, I also have to try to decide in my head if some of the things I'm thinking of just sound not doable, or am I being lazy? I'm like, is that going to be overcomplicated, or am I just being lazy? Or do I just not want to do that? And I have to ask myself, is there a better way to do it? I don't know if there is. I think ultimately I'm going to have to. The thing is, like I said, I'm trying to get to a demo state, right? But as each new step in the process happens, I realize there's something else missing. So like I finally got, as I finally got my feed the game plan, or the plays to the simulation, so it knows what plays to run, or for the game simulation, which actually runs on the back end, but it's going to go select plays. Well, what is it going to select plays from? Well, it's selecting plays from those returned from the game plan and the coach's service. So the coach service reads the game plan and says, "Give what plays? This is our situation, the kickoff. These are the plays we need to pick from," which is just going to be kickoff. And then And then we're going to have, the problem is I don't have a default game plan. So I've got to get my default game plan working. I think that's the answer. Game plan needs to work, and I need to provide an admin user so I can start generating, assigning default values to different teams, which basically means I'm going to have to go. So when I create a default game plan, I need to also add to my code functionality a randomizer that says take one of these default game plans, name. So this is name default game plan, but I think I'm going to have like default one. Maybe it's game plan defo 1, and every team gets a default. Normally users won't be able to edit the default game plan. You can't change the team's philosophy. You can rewrite it by creating your own situation over the top. Because I'm worried that players might do something silly like delete a required situation, right? So every situation has to be covered. And so maybe that's what I need to do. I think I just need to go in here and fix my game plan. What does my game plan do right now? So that said, every team should have a game plan assigned to it. So I need to turn so in order to get some default game plans, so how do I do that? So I create a default game plan, and then I need to have 32 of these freaking things. Because every team needs to have one, right? So if we have leagues that have 32, then there will be 32 game plans. So they may only be slightly different. In fact, they may all be identical to start. I may just give them all the same game plan. Like I may have a default game plan, and then I have a maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just create a default game plan, and all teams get the default game plan. If I create a second one, then those teams will randomly get one of those two. If I create a third one, they'll all get one of those three. So eventually it gets more and more and more minute. Maybe that's the best way to do it. Yeah. This way I can create one single default game plan. Which means if I were to go in and go look at my game plan here, you can see it doesn't have a whole lot of anything right now. And it looks like some of my things aren't even clickable at the moment. Why not? So I got to fix this. It was working. I had it working. Something broke it. You know, one of the things I want to do too is I'm thinking I want to flip my scrolls. I want them to open vertically instead of horizontally. They do look okay. There's something weird. Why is this loading weird? Oh, is that because I have this thing on? It's not recording anymore, I don't think. No, I don't want that. No, don't do that. That's not what I wanted to do. All right, so if we go for available plays container, something showing that shouldn't be. We've got user available plays panel, playbook panel, unit filter. No? Oh, is there something going on? Oh, maybe I have the wrong, let's go to the available scroll view, base card dimensions panel, card. Oh, those are disabled. But where's the rest of it? That's weird. How come that wasn't showing? Play info text panel, that's a thing. So we did disable these, but we didn't show this, and it's just really stuttery. I don't know why it's so bad. I don't like why this is so slow. Look how, if I click on this, oh, that one loads quickly. Alright, maybe that one's not so bad. If it stays in memory, maybe that's it the first time. I still don't like that it's stuttery the first time. Alright, well, I guess that ain't so bad right now. I don't know why I was still kind of stutters. Oh, still looks pretty good for the most part. Yesterday I was running it and it was just like it was stuttering every time. But I had my my code tracker, the what do you call it, code coverage thing recording, and I think that might have been part of the problem. All right, so we are getting definitely some problems with my viewport here, because these guys are way big. They should not be. So my viewport is wonky. How many cell size? 150 by 180. I don't suppose this would change if I reduce this. What would be what is the same relationship? 150 by 180 would be divide by 10, so 15 by 18. That would be really tiny. About 45 by 51? No, 54? 45 by 54? 18, yeah, 45 by 54. Let's see what that does. 45, 54. Kong constraint. Okay, so that did shrink it. I don't know why it's still too big, because my available space area has a lot of padding too. Huh. Oh, it's top. I don't want to do something. Hey, boo. So maybe 30 by 36. Still not really spacing out correctly. For one, they're stacking, so I don't know why that's doing that. Is it still that my thing is not big enough? I don't think resizing my screen is going to make any difference, but I guess it wouldn't. It's just I don't understand why it's not setting up over. Let's try 15 by 18. 15 by 18. Yeah, see, there's plenty of they're plenty small now. That shouldn't be a problem. Why are they stacking like that? I have a column constraint, fixed column count 2. Oh, that pushed them to the side. Huh. Still not doing anything. Whoa. That's the wrong place for that. Why are they stacking? Shouldn't be stacking. And they shouldn't be blank. Grr. It zooms off to the side, which is totally funky. I am definitely got some issues here. Card name, card image. Yeah, that might be part of why that wasn't showing up. That still only explains one card, though. Shotgun 4 deep. Oh, well, that's got some image now. Don't know why it's got that wrong image, but it's still. It's probably just the default text, means there was no image for it. Oh, yeah, it loaded correctly. So it looks like part of the problem is that the objects aren't showing up that should be. S22 quick dump, which is weird. Why is it like giving me 2? It's like I'm getting 2. All right, so part of the problem is, all right, so I guess I'll talk to Bezzy. Let's see what Bezzy has for me here. Obviously, it was a little bit more than just all right, not quite fixed. Still many issues. One, cards are stacking and not showing in rows 2. I have the available place container. Available place container. Count correctly set equal to attached are the available place container settings. Let's go ahead and now I'm thinking I haven't even gotten to having the actual playbook set up. In fact, these aren't technically the available plays. Available plays are actually the ones that are available to the user, but right now I'm using all plays as available. I haven't started marking them for per user yet. We'll get there. Attached are the available plays container settings to when in the available plays. Scroll view? Scroll view. All the game card prefabs that are loaded should A, disable all, disable both the player info side A dash panel and the Player info side B dash panel. Player info side B dash panel. And these are for when a card is used to load player info. Play info text panel should set active along with card image and card name. Card image should be getting loaded with the play image loaded at startup in the image loader based on the play ID. What else am I missing? Five. When I close the zoom panel, the card zoom panel, it is not sliding. It is sliding off to the side, but not correctly zooming back to this spot. Can't. It does. We're used as a player card in the selection. Plus, once it does zoom out, close, I am seeing another zoom-like panel. Not sure where that is coming. Dang it, I don't know how to type. Coming from though. Alright, so like let's go here. I'm gonna have to pop this out. What are you doing? Come down here. That's not what I wanted. Down here. Alright, so this is this. And then let's go ahead and turn off this guy for now. This is my stadium. Pretty cool, huh? I think so. I think it's pretty dang cool, man. Darn right. But I need to go away. And we need to go back up here and there we go. Readjust my perspective here. slowly trying to get things back in. I am not a Unity expert. There's probably all kinds of cool little hotkeys that I am totally messing up here. But for now. So if I do this and then I close this, that goes away, but then I have this. What is that? That's a button image? What is that? Card button text. Base card dimension panel. You know what? I think I might be doing. Oh, you know what? I think the problem is I am zooming the actual card because I have code that is not used in the zoom panel. I think I have two effects happening here. Huh. I think I have two effects happening. I think what's happening is it's creating a copy of it instead of using the zoom panel and showing you this. And this at one point was the design, but it's not the design I have in mind anymore. Well, that's the game. Oh, that is the game card zoom panel. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it is using that. Oh, I'm so confused. Oh, it's the button on the game card zoom panel. Oh, there's something so weird happening here. I do not know what's happening. And there's a button behind this, which also makes it weird because it's not. It's supposed to be floating up here somewhere, and somehow it's totally off the track. All right, let's stop this. I know I have AI doing stuff, and for all I know, AI is breaking stuff, or at least changing the way I have or 4 and 5. Card stacking instead of 2 columns. The grid layout column is configured correctly, but cards may be stacking due to possible solution. The game card prefab might have a layout enabled or preferred with height settings that override the grid. To fix this, you need to select game card v2 prefab. Check if there's a layout element component in the root game object. I don't think there is. Does it say component, layout element component in the root? I don't think it means this, right? Nope. No layout element in the root component, or no layout component in the root element. What are reasonable? go to the anchor. Why don't I just show? Don't know why they wouldn't be showing it all. It says my plays should be loading. But why aren't they? I'm getting the default image, which is this. It's just whatever image I have there. And I don't have a default play image, which I don't know if I want one. I'd almost rather just be blank. But let's go ahead and just see what this does when it runs. Because I had AI try to tweak some stuff. Let's see if we're any closer. Oh, I'm sorry. Playbook is the one that's weird. Nope, I didn't do anything. Container. Well, I checked the current state after changes, but card image is still inactive. Player info text panel is still inactive. And if needed, which I think it is, status overlay panel is inactive. So all right, let's go ahead and stop this. Or perhaps better should have no image available just so I know it's better. No image probably have to do a step through on the code to debug it, because it's all it says is up, it should be there. It's not doing anything to help figure out the problem. So I am going to have to go in and it's kind of funny how Bezier really compacts a lot. It compacts regularly, like I think too frequently. I mean, I understand that you have to compact if you get more than a certain number of tokens, but I don't know if that's because since Bezier's using, you know, Bezier uses Claude, and I think I understand it to use, it's using like the latest 4.5, and I wonder if it's trying to do it as cheaply as possible, because you know, even though you're paying Bezier, they're turning around and paying Claude, right, to use the system. And if they're trying to do it as cheaply as possible, they're giving you less, right? They're giving you less than Claude gives you, because you have to stay within their, you know, within their usage. And since they don't use the same setup, I think what it's doing is it's actually truncating your usage in Bezier so that it fits within their usage of Claude. That's what I think is happening. That's why it compacts all the time, because if it sent too much, it would be using bigger token usage, and that would cost them more money. So by keeping it small and succinct, they're not passing more than like the minimum amount of history to Claude, and it's not. This is one thing I've noticed, that Bezier has trouble with long conversations. It will lose track of your conversations fairly quickly. It'll compact, but it's basically throwing out everything from before. So it's not even summarizing. Now, I think my understanding is Claude, when Claude compacts, it summarizes the data to try to get a basic understanding of everything it had before without having all the details. And I don't know that Bezier's doing that. So if you get too long of a conversation going with Bezier, she actually just dumps everything. And why do I think Bezier is a she? It feels like a she. I don't know. Claude is a guy's name. Bezier is a girl's name. I don't know. Bezier Arnaz? That's actually a dude. It was Desi Arnaz, but that was actually a dude, so I don't know. Desi Arnaz was what? Lucille Ball's husband for a while. Let's see if we can get. I'm just trying to get my game plans loading up again, or my playbooks and my game plans, all the above. Everything needs to be loading again using the current architecture. Oh, this was a thing I didn't have to do. This is why that's there. All right, let's see if this, my main concern right now, oops, compiler errors. Compiler errors, you broke something. Go into my code here. Go look at what other images do I have? I have my logos and my characters. There is code. It looks like play images might be loading differently in the way character and logo, character, pose, and logo images are being loaded. There should be an image loader that functions pretty much the same way to play images. So that we have system code to something. There's it's like right now I'm just trying to get my thing to load correctly before I can even, and this isn't even, I mean, playbooks are going to be necessary. I mean, obviously I got to be able to put plays in, create the plays, load the plays, so that I can assign plays to the playbook, which will be used by the game plan. But this is all stuff that has to work in order for a simulation to function. So even though I've got my simulation ready, it's waiting, I've got players, I can't give them any assignments. I don't have the game plan and the playbook in place. So that's what I'm working on now. So I got to restructure those. I don't know how long it's going to take. Ideally, not that long. But once I have a play or some plays into my game plan and my playbook, and then the situation or the game plan should be pretty easy. It's the playbooks that are going to be, actually, I don't think creating any of that's going to take all that long. I mean, I could probably get, as long as my game plan and my playbooks are functioning, I should be able to create a handful of plays and playbooks fairly quickly. I just need them to be able to create and load, and then, but I also need myself ways to edit them, add to them, make that function. So Really what I need to do is create a scenario that just covers the kickoff first. If I can just get to cover the kickoff, then I can put players on the field and run a kickoff, because I just need to select a play, give it the play. So if I create the kickoff play, which I think I have, then I could have the coach go and run the situation, the game plan that exists, which should be the one situation. I only have to have one situation in there, and then it goes and grabs the game plan that's appropriate, or a play that's appropriate. Then it can kick off the simulation and start. Now it's going to run one play, and that's it, because there's only one scenario. Everything else, it'll stop the game at that point. But, you know, at least I get the one play, the kickoff done. I need to figure out a way to do something with the stadium and make it look like wood on the outside. But I'm having some serious troubles with textures on these arches. Oh god, that is not fun trying to get the simulation on the arches. It is so not fun. We're doing something. Don't know what's going on. Alright, did it do it? Maybe it did it. Maybe I clicked already. Let's go see what it does. So now we are loading, we adjusted the architecture loading for the images. So in theory, they're all doing the same thing. Now that still doesn't mean that they're mapping correctly, because it could be downloading them and doing some other weird thing, but as long as the IDs match, should be getting something. Hey, look, they all have something. They're all wrong. But they all have something. At least they're properly loading something. All right, so I click on this. And so now you kind of see what the play looks like. You can see it's also zoomed out weird. But if I click here, oh, we're not getting the top zoom panel anymore. So that's different. So if I click here, and that is definitely loading. Yeah, it's definitely loading the zoom panel. Zoom card container. Huh. Not quite, folks, not quite. All right, so it loaded up images. I think we've got all the right parts loading now. Let's go make sure. Card image, play info text panel. Yeah, okay, so got everything loading up correctly, which is good. All those guys are visible. So we got everything's in there. Now they're just not displaying correctly. So the question is, why? They might be kind of big. I get it. Let's see. Let's pull this out here. Okay, these are the images. The cards. See how they are all stacked. And not neatly arranged 2 by 2. 2 across. And then down. Also, I know I have some images. Can you add console logs to show what images it is trying to load? Or did it already? So I can determine if there is a loading issue. Is that me buzzing? There's a loading issue. I see that. Maybe. I see that the play images appear to be loading. Then let's start up. So, hey Chun, how's it going, man? So says my progress bar that something is amiss. I'm gonna have to dig into my code here. What's the latest, man? How's your Friday going? Oh my gosh. Holy moly. Attached are my available plays container inspector settings. Yeah, that's coming out pretty soon, ain't it? Is that starting soon? I think that starts this month, doesn't it? Like it's supposed to be any day now. Yep, I'm in Unity now. I'm back and forth. I go from you know, all the different parts. Some days I'm in Unity, some days I'm in my my back end, and the other day I was in React trying to fix my play editor, because that's where my play editor is. It's built in React. Because it was the first thing I created was a play editor, so I could generate plays and use them in the system. But right now I'm trying to get my playbook loading correctly. You can see my plays are all messed up. They don't even have images. These are just default images on them. They do have, you know, they are popping up and showing the dummy data. I don't have any real data on these plays yet, but that's there. But I'm not getting, I have the name, so I know it's coming from the database okay. But I'm not getting the images, so I gotta figure that out. I have what I would like to do at some point. I was watching a video the other day how, you know, how to create. It was funny because for a long time, you know, you see a lot of these game design videos on YouTube, and they show you, you know, their terrain. Oh, this is how you do this, and you edit the way the guy jumps, or you do this or this and that. but I had never seen one that actually showed how they create the world. You know, it's like every now and then there'll be a video that just shows stuff being thrown down and it's happening, but they're not showing you how it's happening. And the other day I stumbled across a video that actually showed me what buttons to push and places to go in Unity to make it happen, where you could put trees down and paths and start building stuff. And I'm like, oh, well, that might be doable. So what I'm actually thinking I want to do once I start fully working on the graphics, right? Because I'm not 100% in graphics right now. I'm just trying to get the functional graphics going, you know, playbooks loading, game plans loading. I want to get all those things just loading so that I can work with them and do what I need to go to the next step in the process. But eventually I want to be able to, like, I would like to some extent get rid of some of my buttons at the top. I want to be able to use like the area on the board. I feel like that's more gamey than having just menus at the top. I want my game to be gamey. so where you click on things on the screen and stuff happens. And so what I thought about doing was building my terrain out, you know, maybe seeing if I could do something like, I've seen plenty of times they build mountains in the background, so do something like that, and then try to build my fantasy cityscape and try to just figure if I could build it myself, put some assets down where you actually have buildings, and then those buildings I could click on, and those would take me to like my game plans. It's like I'm doing in my React website, which I'm doing that, but the way I do it there is I have this image, and then I created these, I don't know, these floating areas that basically encapsulate that piece of the image. So no matter how it resizes, they resize with whatever you're doing and resizing the page, and these boxes stay over that part of the image. So then if you click on the field or the building, it acts like a live object. That's how I'm doing it on the React website. Now I could probably do something like that here, but I don't want to. That's really kind of clunky. I don't want to use fixed images. I would like to have some kind of like 3D live control where you actually have objects on the field, on the screen. And plus that'll allow me to do things like reuse my stadium here, so that I can, you know, build, if I wanted to build multiple stadiums. Oh, did you introduce some bugs? If I wanted to have more than one stadium, I could put these stadiums down as the ones I created right there on the field, on my screen. So they're the real stadium. So when you click on it, really it just kind of zooms into this. I could maybe have it zoom into the stadium. That's, you know, that's later, because that's all graphical stuff and it has no function other than just to look cool. And the cool stuff has to come, but that's not now. It doesn't have to come this second. So, all right, let's see what AI did here. All right, let's see. Grid layout issues, aspect ratio conflict. The problem, prefab has an aspect ratio fitter component set to fit parent mode with aspect ratio. This is overriding the grid layout group cell size, causing cards to stack vertically. To fix this, you need to open the game card view prefab in Unity editor. You know, navigate to assets prefab, double click game card prefab, open it, select the root game object. Find the aspect ratio fitter component name inspector. Change the aspect mode. Drop down from fit parent to none. I am a bit concerned. Hey, is that Karama? How's it going, Karama? How you doing, man? I'm a bit concerned with that fix for the game card prefab, because it might break the current usage of the cards. So yeah, what other prefabs do I have? I have my player team option summary prefab. In the team options summary prefab. Yeah, how'd your quiz go? Hopefully it went well. Database query. What kind of database are you working with? You're working with Cosmo, Mongo, SQL. What is the other one? Oh, I want to say Superbase. Yeah, is it Superbase? No, not Superbase. Oh, maybe it is. Oracle. Oh, okay, Oracle. So do they still use Toad for Oracle? Or do they have a different... Toad used to be the Oracle go-to for your actual, what do you call it, management of Oracle. But that was years ago, and I don't know, I mean, has that changed? Because, Microsoft has their own SQL Server Management Studio. But when I had a job that worked with Oracle some years back, and they were using Toad. What is yay? Good job, man. Oracle database MySQL. So it was working with both databases, Oracle and MySQL? MySQL is like a really dumbed down version of SQL Server, isn't it? I mean, it's like a very basic version. So let me see here. How does my team option summary work? Let's see, this one has now this one is this not used in a grid layout group? Only when in grid layout group. Only when the card is in a grid layout group. So let's see. Title text. So how is this working then? Team option summary, aspect ratio fitter. And I guess these are single spots. They don't have to rotate. They don't have to set up. Basic query stuff. Well, it's pretty much the same then, right? I mean, there may, I mean, there might be small syntactical differences, right, with Oracle. And so are you using is YE, you said YE. Is that yes, like YES? I don't know what. So you were using Toad as your management studio? Yee. You still didn't put an S on it. I don't know what that means. Is that just an expression? You and your weird little symbols. I don't know what those are, man. I have to go ask like AI. In chat, what is TT underscore TT and YE and T dot T? I'm pretty sure XD means you're like laughing at me. Crying face emoticon. Is that what that is? It's a crying face? How come it doesn't just change that? How come it doesn't just put that in? This is a slang cheer or exclamation. It's like saying, yay. Oh, but with extra energy. Often used to show excitement, hype, or agreement in a fun way. Yee. Okay. Yes. So yeah, I don't even know. Is that yes? Now that it's been so long, there's been so many chat lines. Is it yes to your fact that you still use Toad? By the way, is Toad still a standard for Oracle? That's kind of weird. It feels like it just stopped in the middle. It did stop in the middle. It's still, oh, there you go. It's still widely used as a standard. Okay, so it is still. Yeah, dude, but there's no emotes coming through on my end. That's the problem. All I see are letters. I don't see there's no, see, this is all I see. So I'm not seeing the emoticon. All I see are letters. So unless I know what those letters mean, they're just letters to me. I don't know why they don't come through. Twitch doesn't know what to do with them. That's why, because Twitch doesn't translate them either. So, and some emoticons kind of come through. Look at Chun. Chun put some stuff in mine, and you know he's using the basic stuff, and they came through. But yours don't come through, so I just see a bunch of letters. That's why it's hard. I don't know why, because I think some emoticons, some emote stuff comes through, but I wonder if there's a tool I can implement that would convert, you know, emotes to emotes. Okay, so Toad is still the thing. Okay. It's been so long, I didn't know if Toad was even in use anymore, but now I know. It's still out there. I remember it looked pretty much functioned like SQL Server's Management Studio. It's just, it was meant to work with Oracle. I think you could even, I seem to remember somehow people were even using Notepad++, I think, to connect to something. What were they using it for? Gosh, that was a long time ago. That was back when Notepad++ was, I mean, it's still being used a lot, but I mean, it was way early in its lifespan, is what I mean. Now it's gotten so much more common. Data mining. You mean like pulling data from databases? Or are you talking about like pulling data together? Or even for that matter, are you talking about like gathering all the data and running reports against it, which is kind of like statistical stuff, which statistics I've heard are pretty difficult. But I don't know, I guess data mining is about gathering and pulling data together, isn't it? From various sources. But I don't know. I don't know that I've actually ever done data mining. All right, let's go see what we got here. Did it do anything? It says it's running, but I'm not seeing any response. Now my whole screen is broken. All right, maybe I had to stop it first. Let it recompile with the new stuff. Well, it compiled, but run your game and check, it says. All right, let's see what we got. Hey, look at that. Woohoo! We've got loaded cards properly now. So the problem was the aspect ratio fitter. And now that we've disabled that, we are able to load. I still don't get any images though, so we are getting a problem with my images. Oops, wrong button. I got two. I still think I got two defensive and one special. So that's partially wrong. Because I actually don't think I have any defensive plays right now. And I do have two special teams, so they're loading. I think what the problem is my special teams ones are loading up as defensive. So I've got to adjust that. But that's probably not too big of a deal. So this is still wrong a little bit. My zooming is weird. It's supposed to go to the center of the field. It's also supposed to zoom out, which it's not doing anymore. So we're closer. Okay, so when I click the card prefab, game card prefab, we have code in place to use the card zoom panel with the dot tween for a nice zoom out from the spot started at to the center of the window panel, the center of the game screen. But when the card is clicked in the playbook, there is no nice smooth zoom out, and close does not, and nothing. Acquiring. Need to click. It is just not the same experience. All right, so what I'm trying to accomplish is getting my plays when they zoom out like this. Oops, zoom out like this. For them to pop up in the middle of the screen, which is what they're supposed to do. And I think what's happening is I actually am getting a window here. This is different. It's not supposed to be like that. I feel like the zoom panel is being weird. I mean, I know it is using it because you can see it, it's down here, like a game card zoom panel. It is loading it, but it's behaving different. I don't know why. Ah, see, we have a different, I knew it. There's a different process going on. See, back when I first created the playbook, I didn't know about .tween. And so I was trying to work with AI, and I came up with this thing. And it's even wrong. I mean, something broke on here anyway. The positioning's all wrong. There's a button behind this guy. It's like right about here. This is supposed to be way up here. I don't know why it got all out of whack like this. It's just positioned totally wrong. And ultimately, this just looks bad. And it doesn't have a cool, it doesn't function the same. The .tween one that I set up on this card zoom panel down here with my, what do you call it? Team option summary buttons, which, you know, where you got the players and you can click on them and it zooms in on the player. It's really cool. It just zooms out from the player and then zooms back. And I'm like, that's so cool. That is the way, man. I really like that. And then when you click out, you know, when we click outside of it, it just zooms back. And so I'm hoping I can get an effect that's similar to that. All right, setting in-game card zoom.tween component in main canvas. All right, now when you click on in-game card playbook in the playbook or anywhere else, you'll get the same smooth .tween experience. All right, let's see what that does. Let's see if we get that same smooth .tween experience here. We'll go back over here. Recompile. I mean, I rarely get to stay out of the code this long. The only reason, for one, I'm giving AI too much time. Two, I'm asking it basically right now to replicate pre-existing code in other places, which when you do that, AI is really pretty good at that. And I already know that certain pieces of functionality exist, and this helps me to keep things clean and consistent throughout my application. So oftentimes when I need it to do something specific that doesn't work yet, and oftentimes I'm tweaking it around. Oh, the stadium. Oh gosh, the stadium. I went down the rabbit hole with AI for way too long. I finally pulled the plug on that and just went into AI and figured out where stuff was and fixed it myself. It took me like 20 minutes. I spent a day and a half doing it with AI, trying to give AI a chance to fix it. And I finally just said, why am I torturing myself? So I went in there, found what was causing the problem. Like I said, it took me like 20 minutes. I started figuring out what the option was. And then I basically put on this little adjuster on the value so that whenever my stadium, the problem was when my end caps, my zone ends. Okay, so you see on this end zone, you know, you can see that I have these end caps, or the end zones. Those are different because they're meshes that go around on the corners. And they get built differently. There's different logic for them because they're building different pieces. And the problem was when I no, I'm just totally changing this around so I can see it. So when I had this running, I have all of these conditionals. Like if I go to the sim container here, you can see all these conditions. These are variables that are defining what this stadium's gonna be shaped like. Everything from, you know, how high the tiers are, these are, each flight here is the, you know, the seating, the stairs are the seats where the players are, or the people are. So I've got 20 rows here and 14 rows here, and they're all pretty, I guess in theory they're probably pretty far apart because I have a tiny little person. My players are underneath this screen. And really I probably could put them together and compress them more and then add like another number of tiers, because how many tiers are in a football stadium? There's probably 100, right? I mean, there's probably a whole lot of levels. And then, but the thing is, I have no idea how I'm going to fill this stadium. You know, it's like, I probably don't need to fill it, but I need to figure out how to put like models in there, just random AI people models, or not AI, but people models, and figure out how to stick them on all the seats. And I have to do it without their legs, because their legs would be sitting on the seats, right? I don't think I want to actually try to make all the models sit. That would be kind of silly. I could have some stand just so they can stand up. And I guess I could put them all standing in different places, but then I have to have some standing. I don't know. We'll worry about that later. That's graphics. But anyway, what I ended up doing was I have these tiers, and I wanted to be consistent. Like, this is the tier spacing. See, it's 2.5, which, I don't know, it's supposed to be yards, but I don't think that's right. Anyway, I just went by what looks good. And I just put numbers in here until I get it. And then I have this, but because of the way end zones are, 2.5 wasn't getting the results I needed. So I needed to have this multiplier here that goes through, and basically it takes a much smaller fraction to get the same values. So I played with this end zone multiplier, spacing multiplier, until the spaces on the end zone matched the spacing on the sidelines, the sideline pieces. And then once I had that, I was able to resize my stadium and make everything on the end zones match everything on the sidelines. But like I said, it took me like 20 minutes, maybe an hour to play with it and get all of the places in place. But overall, that was it, compared to the way too long I let AI do it. So I'm telling you, don't get caught in the rabbit hole. It's too easy to do, and it'll happen. I mean, I tell you not to do it, but it's really hard not to do it. Woohoo, look at that. That's kind of weird. I'm actually taking the card out. It is actually removing it from this spot, which is totally strange. And it pushes it back in. Huh. So I'm physically removing this card, it looks like, when I do that. So you are looking at the actual card. What I may have to do is give a button to add to playbook. And then if I do that, it doesn't go back. It just goes into the other playbook. That would be good. I need to start adding stuff to the playbook. But all right, I think I want to. All right, so now I've got a playbook. Now I've got to create playbooks for users so that I can actually have. So I'm going to have to go into my back end now and have, whenever a team is created, give them a playbook, because I don't think I have. Every team needs to have a playbook assigned to it. And so if I go to my back end over here and go to my game plans, see, I have no documents, and the only game plan I have is this default one. So I think ultimately I have to create a playbook for all users. And so what I should probably do is update my, I think every team is just going to have to get a playbook. Yeah, I think every team's going to have to get a playbook. And what I'll do is I'll give every team a playbook. that uses the defaults. I think the AI is just going to use like defaults, and then coaches will come with their own plays. Not a whole bunch, but they might have their own handful of plays that go into that playbook. Yeah. I think what I might even do is have the AI follow the reward process of the user. So if the user's only got like, if the user's got only allowed to have the minimum number of plays, the AI will only have the minimum number of plays as well. But as the user's play count goes up, so does the AI's play count. They get to start adding plays as well. Maybe it'll be random what they get, as long as it meets the criteria of whatever they have. You know, maybe they pull in plays from whatever. Um, this way, that by having random plays in the AI's playbooks, yeah, I think that'll be a good way to do it. And what I will probably do, and then I got to figure out how to give the available plays, because I have to do available plays versus. I'm going to get this. I have to iron this out. I've only got maybe 40 minutes or even less than that, because my wife's ordering dinner and I got to go pick it up. But yeah, I need to start mocking out the how I'm going to do this. But playbooks and game plans, I need to create one for everybody. The thing is, I've got to come up with a way to create the general playbook. Yeah. And I'm just trying to mock it up in my head how this is all going to work, because every team, every player's got to have a play and playbook, but I also got to have the basics that exist, and I have to give myself a means to edit the basics, right? So if I want to add to, remove from, improve, whatever the defaults are, I need to be able to edit those, and that's why I need to make my admin account. So what I need to do is probably have something like drop down boxes on my screen here, that if you have more than one of anything, if you have more than one of anything, like in my case, I would have like multiple teams, like, because I can manage all the defaults because I'll be an admin. But like other people might have two teams or three teams, and they can say, and I probably would never actually let them pick from here, except for like the game plans might allow you to pick a different game plan that you have from a different team, just so that you can assign it to your current team, because they're always working with the active team, but every team has its own playbook. So I would not have every team. I don't want to be able to transfer playbooks between teams, because some of these plays might be required by the game plan that you're using. And that means I don't want, if you swap a game plan, it could break the game plan. If you swap the playbook, you break the game plan, because some game plans reference specific plays. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to log off for tonight. I'll probably be back later, probably this evening, but if I am, I'll probably be gaming, because, you know, I got to do the take a break time, which is the next 24 hours or so. I don't do any coding on my game. It's so hard. But I'm going to try to give a command to AI here to do some work. Probably only take it 5 minutes to do it, but at least I can sign off knowing that I gave it something to do. I play games. If I am on streaming like tonight or tomorrow morning, which is what I probably do, I'll probably either play one of my many video games, or I do paint. I sometimes paint minis. If you looked at some of my history, you'd see some of the stuff. Like I have some playlists to show you some of the stuff I've done. I haven't painted in a while. The latest thing I've been playing has been Dark. Is it Darksiders? I think it's Darksiders. Yeah. The latest thing I have been playing, yeah, Darksiders War Mastered Edition. I've been playing that. Yeah, I like it. I haven't, I haven't gotten real far in it. I just beat Tiamat recently, and I'm working my way up to the next thing. I played Shadows recently. I've also played Shadow Tactics. Played the Shogun. I like that. It's a very, very, very tactical game where you try not to, you don't want to get seen doing a bunch of stuff you're doing. So you're going around killing people and hiding them in bushes. And I love Midnight Suns, but I haven't played it lately because when I stream it, my computer kind of gets kind of funky. It starts getting kind of crappy. And XCOM 2, which is one of my all-time favorites, has been crashing a lot lately. So I don't know what's going on with that. So Foul Seal Arbiter's Mark, a little bit like the old Final Fantasy Tactics. I would love to get the new Final Fantasy Tactics that they just released. That would be cool. Yeah, so anyway, these are the games I've been playing most recently. And I probably have to I can't skip Darksiders too long, though. If I go for more than a couple of weeks, I start forgetting how to play. Which one? The new Final Fantasy Tactics that's out? They actually created it for the PC. And it's supposedly really good. They updated and recreated it completely. What is it called? It's Final Fantasy Tactics something something something. But it just released, I think, like this month. I probably shouldn't be using my last few minutes of work here, but I'm going to go look at it anyway. Let's go to the library. Store. Hey, that Final Fantasy 16. Is there a 16? I didn't even know it got to 16. Holy moly. When did that come out? I thought they were only like at 14 or 15. Geez, 16. That's got to be brand new, right? I mean, like just this year? All right, now I want to click. Yeah, I'm sure it gets mostly positive, very positive. I've always liked the gameplay. You know what? I'm not a big story guy anyway. I mean, I don't know why. I just sometimes it's kind of cool what's going on, but a lot of times I'm not paying attention when they're doing the cutscenes. It's like it's kind of cool to watch, and I'm like seeing what's happening, but I typically, dude, that's pretty cool, man. Now that I'm developing a game, I appreciate so much more what these guys are doing video-wise on these games. I look at this stuff, and these guys move so good, and it's so smooth, and the monsters and everything just look so amazing. And then you can change gear, and I am just like in awe of what these people accomplish on these games. It's like when you start trying to develop games and you realize how much work it would do. Like for me, just to create one character that looks like this. Now, I'm not an artist, so that takes it, that multiplies it by 10. But it is so beyond my concept of understanding how they do things like these super sweet looking dragons and look, he's got his cape flowing. Now I understand, I've seen some of the tools and stuff that make that happen, but the amount of time that goes into creating the animations for a cape to move and for a player to move smoothly and just look good while he's doing all the stuff they're doing. And then you hear people complain, oh, this guy looks a little this or a little that. And I'm like, dude, you don't know how much work. When you see a single player game that looks even half as good as some of these AA and AAA studio games, I am just in awe. These people are superheroes. I tell you, it's just amazing. And then when people complain, oh, it's a huge, and then if you're artistic, that's great. You're at least got a leg up. You like to draw and create, and you can create cool looking things. But the animation, you have to put the skeleton on them, and then you have to create all the movement, and it's a days, weeks long process to create singular animations. And these guys are doing massive animations. I mean, they're spinning and turning and landing, and it all looks like a dude doing it in these 3D models. And then when I see people complain, like on Madden, this guy does this little weird thing of every 57th situation of this. If you do this particular little thing, he does this. And I'm like, dude, you fix it. Yeah, they said these guys have huge studios of people. And I'm like, yeah, they do. And that's why you see how good it is. It's so beyond. I get mad at when people are complaining about little nickly bitty things in a super high graphics game. And they're complaining about the graphics. When they're complaining about functionality, like it doesn't do this or doesn't do that, okay, maybe there's something there, I don't know. But still, it's just like, don't complain about the graphic stuff, dude. Until you can see how, or even just go look at some indie games. Go look at indie games and see what they do. And then go compare it to AAA. And then complain about the AAA. Then complain about the AAA games. Because if you can complain about those after having played indie games and single developer, double developer games, and seen what they do in 3-4 years sometimes, some of those games, and then you're asking about these AAA games that are released in a couple of years, and they're pretty decent, but they're big studios, and they're so far beyond them and graphically. It's like, that is what you get. It's just, you can't do that. It's too much work for one person. You can't do that stuff with one person. This is why you'll never see an indie game that looks like Final Fantasy, because it would take a single person, even a super talented person, to do one version of something like Final Fantasy. It would take 10 years. And by that time, the code would be outdated. Okay, I have to get going. Food's ready. I'm going to go pick it up. I will be back, though. I'll definitely be gaming, if not tonight, tomorrow. But I usually play kind of late on Fridays if I play. It'll be like 5 more hours from now. And then when I play on Saturday, I usually play in the mornings. So I usually play, 4:30 my time. So it'll be 9:30 my time. And I usually play until 1, 2, 3, something like that in the afternoon. So I'm usually on for quite a bit if I don't stop for breakfast. Until next time, tune. Hey, thanks coming by, Karama. Thanks for coming by. Anybody else who checks us out in post, feel free to ask questions whenever you want. Chat with me. Till next time, God bless.